All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, on the 1010XL app. You'll see us online as well, of course, as you can go on demand, check out this show and check out many, many other shows done on the platform right here on 1010XL. Of course, we are live on Facebook, and my esteemed producer, who I'll say hello to in just a moment, will take it and cut it up and send reels and do all this stuff and just generates a ton of views. So we do appreciate the love and the support, and love bringing it to you. We're a little late today. It's about, 10:15, but we don't set a timer either, so you never know when we're done. Of course, Catching Up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac, some of the best small businesses right here in town. I'll tell you all about them as the show goes on, but very thankful for every single one of Team Tommy Mac. All right, let's say hello to Grammage. Good morning, Grammage. What's happening?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Tuesday. You know what's wild about Tuesday? All right, so I've always said Tuesday's a work day, right? You got to suck it up. You know, you just go to work. I mean, what else are you going to do on a Tuesday? Now, if you're in the service industry, that's different. Like your Tuesday may be your Sunday, you know, where you're chilling and getting ready for the weekend and whatnot. So I understand that. But when I drive my daughter and her friends into school, so I got about another year of this, all right, because she's 15 now. She'll be 16 next September. I don't think she's going to right away. I'm not going to send her to the Wolves to downtown, but eventually I will. But as I go in on a Tuesday, it's slam packed. I take beach. From the beach, I take Beach Boulevard all the way down to Douglas Anderson.
That's a haul. It's
a haul. I mean, could I jog out to JTB, go that? Yeah, but it just seems like I got to pick up everybody off a beach, staying on beach. So whatever, I take beach. And it takes forever, especially on a Tuesday. And especially if you got to take a leak. My gosh, it won't stop. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But anyway, on Fridays, it's light as all get out because normally I drive on Tuesdays and Fridays. I'm talking light. Same time. No difference in time. Are people not going to work on Friday? Like, why is it so jam-packed on a MF Tuesday? Like, no end in sight all the way down. But on Friday, it's like, oh, no.
You scoot right in,
people. Yeah, you scoot right in. It's wild, man. It's wild. Maybe everyone's just going to work.
My theory is...
Unbelievable.
My theory is ever since COVID, with people working from home, a lot of people have hybrid work schedules now.
Okay. So Tuesdays and Monday?
Kinda.
Okay.
And I think also if you have a hybrid schedule and you have an option of when you are going to work from home, everyone's going to work from home on Friday.
Yeah.
If you have that option.
Agreed.
So, I mean, I have a lot of friends that have hybrid schedules, or I have some friends that work entirely remote.
Yeah.
But all the ones I know that are hybrid, they never go into the office on Fridays.
Right.
So I think that probably has a lot to do with it. But a Tuesday, you probably got meetings, and you got to talk to your boss and all that. And Friday,
although, look, a good Friday morning of work sets up the weekend, too. I mean, if you went out Thursday night, you got to suck it up for a little bit. But then, I mean, look, I make my own schedule. I like my schedule. I got a lot going on. I'm busy. But there are days where I'm not, and it's great. I take me days. I'm still on the phone. That's the one thing, whether you're at home, especially if you're working remotely, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're taking calls whenever they come. If it's 9 o'clock and you're sitting down on the couch wanting to chill, watch Monday Night Football, and the phone rings, like, got to take this call. Step outside and take the call. Not a big deal, but nonetheless, it's pretty wild out there. So drive safe out there. I don't have a drive safe sponsor other than my truck accident law firm, who's all about trucks, by the way. They're the dream team of truck crashes. Safety first, no doubt about that. If you've been involved in anything like that, a bus, a trailer, truck, just go to truckcrashlaw.com. All right, so bye week's over, Grammage.
Yes, sir.
Smell you later. I didn't like the bye week. I liked it, but I didn't like it because I like watching my Jags on Sunday. Granted, I'll go over my picks in a little bit. Not too bad, but not very good either. Very disappointing in a couple of the picks, but nonetheless, some great games this past weekend. Miami. KC jumped out to a big lead. I thought it was going to be like a washout. Miami fought back. I didn't watch every single play, but kept it on throughout the day. Philly and Dallas was fun. That was a great.
Felt like a playoff game.
It did feel like it did. Just the atmosphere. It's in the division. There's a lot of bad blood between the franchises, the organizations. So a lot of competitive bad blood, if you will. And then Cincinnati continues to roll, man. Cincinnati's they're catching some fire, man. You got to keep an eye on them as they've won now 4 in a row, I believe. After starting off, 0-3 maybe?
They were
something
1-3
like that. 1-3, yeah. It wasn't very good. But
Burrow was not healthy the first month.
Not at all.
You could tell. He was just limping through games.
That especially you got to have your plan leg. If you're gonna be able to drive the ball in, you got to be able to set the foot down in front of you and whip it through.
And something that Burrow is elite at. He's not a Lamar Jackson type of scrambler that's going to make a ton of people miss whatever.
Yeah.
But something that he's been really, really good at ever since college is making that first defender miss, escaping the pocket, not necessarily like all the way to the sideline, but those couple of steps to escape pressure and then finding somebody down the field.
Yep.
He's really, really good at that. He's got great pocket presence.
Yep.
In those first couple weeks of the season, when he didn't quite have the explosion to shuffle within the pocket and step by step and get away.
You're probably thinking about it. You're feeling it.
Yeah. And
all
now,
comes into play.
The last couple weeks, it seems like he shaked the last little bit of rust off his injury, and he's regular Joe Burrow now.
They're powerful.
And, man, that game, I mean, the Bills are a good team.
Yeah, they are.
The Bengals were in control that entire way.
Yeah, the Bills are just they're talented, but they're sporadic all over the place. They're just the wow. It's even with Allen when he looks good, it's almost like it's just the wild west, man. Just whip it, and hopefully it goes in our favor.
Their successful drives for the Bills, and it was the same way when they played our Jags.
Yep.
When the Bills have a successful drive, more than likely it's because Josh Allen made some crazy play or Stephon Diggs made some insane catch or they had some kind of really impressive individual effort chunk play.
Yeah, you're right.
As opposed to, it's very rare I see them go
methodical drive.
Yes, it doesn't happen. Like where
is it?
And honestly, I think because at this point they're probably in year 4 of kind of this current window of who they are.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason that they have had their struggles in the playoffs because that team is easily talented enough to win a Super Bowl.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
But just
they're not together.
Man, you're not going to win a Super Bowl off of strictly elite, just sandlot plays I mean, watch the Chiefs. Yep. Mahomes is the best sandlot quarterback.
Yes.
But where he separates himself.
Andy keeps him in the microcosm of structure.
Where he separates himself is Mahomes is still elite at the 5-yard play, the 7-yard play, the 3-yard play, that the individual non-sexy plays that keep a drive alive.
Yep,
they have that, and I think our Jags have that.
Agreed.
And Doug and say what you want about Doug and Preston, how their play calling has been this year. I understand the credit, I get it.
Yep.
But when you watch the Jags play, you can clearly tell in their offensive scheme that they see things in the defense that they like to expose, and they call things to set up other things, and there's a rhyme and a reason to what they call.
Agreed.
The Bills, it feels like they're just
throwing, against the wall and hoping something sticks.
Correct.
It feels like that.
They're saying, I have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, go do something crazy.
Hey, great story this week, and I actually watched the game with my mother, who's doing better, but it was at Brooks. I sat there and watched the end of Minnesota and Atlanta with Josh Dobbs coming. That was
hell
a great
game.
That fourth, I think it was 4th and 22 or 3rd and 22, and he took off and got the first down. I was like, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, and he just got signed, took no reps at all. Guy in front of him gets hurt. He goes in and wins. And that last drive, like Atlanta goes in, like they go up. You think it's over. No, Minnesota comes right back down and wins the ball game. That was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool to watch that live.
And by the way,
I love football.
Same.
I love them.
My God.
It's not our team, but they're not odds. I'm watching
still
everything.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch.
We just have to say by this point that Josh Dobbs is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not. Now, is Josh Dobbs going to be a franchise guy and win a Super Bowl? No. But I think
with the right team around him, I think maybe, who knows?
But there's this like thought process where if you're playing against Josh Dobbs, it's like, oh, we got Dobbs. Like, that's right. That's a good quarterback.
He is a very good quarterback. And he's very athletic. Here's the thing, though. When you come off the bench like that and they're not ready for you can have a monster game.
100%.
You may even have 2 games in a row. Then they get you on tape and figure out, and you're not just coming off the bench playing sandlot football that might throw us off and how we call defenses, how we attack you, how we do different things, right? So, but hats off to him. With all that being said, it was a great story. It was so cool to watch him take that team down and score. I'm done with Atlanta. I keep picking them. Like, you know what I mean? I think I'm done with them. I just can't trust them anymore. Of course, we saw last night. Man, I picked the Jets because they want a little bit of role in their defense. But they got exposed last night. Herbert getting knocked around. That was a physical game, man. They were bringing it big time, and they walk away with a big victory. That was a victory the Chargers needed. Granted, it's not Aaron Rodgers. We understand it. It's not Zach Wilson. Granted, that kid's getting killed left and right, but he's all over the place. I mean, I don't know. I think it's easy for us to sit there like he's this, he's that, but until you're under that fire, you know what I mean? I don't know. I've never been in that, like, I'm surrounded by giants who are trying to just take my head off, and they're going to kill me as best they can. I don't know what that's like. So would that get me off my game if I'm feeling like, man, I'm getting hit too much and I'm sick? Probably. I'm not defending Zach Wilson. That's their problem. It's got nothing to do with us down here, but you know, before you sit there, a lot goes into playing quarterback in this league, and it's easy when it's easy when you have time, for the most part, unless you're still seeing ghosts, and then you're not setting your feet, and you're not, the mechanics are off, or you're sailing balls. He's sailing balls. He's missing throws. You can't miss. That doesn't mean he doesn't have the talent to do it, but for whatever reason, he can't hone that stuff in, and it wasn't pretty last night.
Well, I'm glad you said what you said a second ago, talking about how he's getting killed back there and there's a lot going on, because I was kind of thinking the same thing watching them last night, because they've been on primetime a lot, too much in my opinion.
Next week, too.
I know. It's crazy.
They thought Rodgers.
I know it's New York, and they thought Rodgers, but oh my God.
Did you see that clip on Rodgers? They caught him mic'd up where I think Derwin James was like, hey, when do you come back? He's like, in a few weeks. And everyone's like, what? What do you mean, a few weeks?
I don't know.
He's got no limp, they said already.
That's crazy.
Walking without a limp. But anyway, go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm glad you said that, though, because I think, especially here in Jacksonville, because there's the Trevor versus Zach thing, and, Trevor's taken about 700 victory laps on that at this point. Not Trevor himself, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Different players.
And I think also it's kind of this general thing around the league that Zach Wilson sucks and he's terrible and he can't play. And I don't necessarily disagree. I'm not calling him a good quarterback.
Yep.
But watching that game last night and watching a few games they've played, he makes his fair share of mistakes, and he did miss some throws. Yeah. That offense is not doing him any favors, though, either.
No.
I mean, that line, there were multiple times.
Yeah.
There were multiple times where, I mean, it could have been Patrick Mahomes back there, and he was still getting sacked.
Yeah.
And there were also a couple times where their receivers were dropping balls they should have caught. And you already
have... It was a combination, it does get you out of rhythm. The whole offense, you know what I mean? It does. It's just, it's not good. But look, the kid physically's got all the tools. He can throw them out. He throws a nice ball, but that doesn't always mean anything if you can't make completions consistently.
And sometimes,
but a lot goes into it.
I don't care how good or bad you are as a quarterback. At some point, because I was watching a little bit of the Manningcast, waiting for Trevor to come on.
Yeah.
Peyton said this, and he's a quarterback, so of course he's going to feel this way. But I did agree with him. He said at some point, some of these guys got to go make a play for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And they're not really doing it. Right. There were a lot of 50-50 balls. The Jets receivers never seem to come up with them, except Garrett Wilson sometimes. Right. Even 70-30 balls they're not catching. And the running game was not great, and the offensive line was not giving him time. And look, Zach, I'm not saying Zach Wilson's a great quarterback, and I'm not really defending him.
I know, but
It's just I just think that it's very easy to just look at when the Jets offense only scores 6 points or whatever and be like, oh, it's because Zach Wilson sucks.
Yeah,
it's like, well, their offense is not a great offense, I think, in general.
I mean, look, you got to look. I don't. Aaron Rodgers would make the offense better. There's no doubt about it. But he's seen it all, done it all. He gets it out quick. He knows where to go before you even take one step towards him. He knows where he's probably going with the football. I don't think Zach Wilson's at that point right now. I just don't. And then he gets knocked around, and next thing you know, he's thinking about going back on a vacation with his girlfriend after the year because he's sick of getting the crap kicked out of him. But, hey, we all know how important the quarterback position is. Daniel Jones up at the New York Giants, he's out for the year, man. Tough break. Just the offense didn't play well. He didn't play well. He was up and down, and then he gets hurt. Hopefully he can heal up. C.J. Stroud lights the league on fire. Holy cow. And Jag fans lose their mind. On Twitter, I don't understand how – look, you can say C.J. Stroud had a phenomenal game. He did. He threw for 5 touchdowns. He's a good player. That kid is good. I don't care about this stuff, but I thought him coming out of the draft. I liked him over Bryce Young by a lot. I just thought he had more to offer. And look, they're playing some good football out there, right? They haven't put it all together. What did I tell you on the, what stat was that? Yards per carry. Houston's at 3.5. We're at 3.6. We're going to go over the stats because since it's bye week, and then we'll talk about the upcoming game. It is Legends Weekend or Alumni Weekend. So that'll be fun. Lemon Bar Friday night.
Oh,
a private party. One of my friends, hey, can I get in? I said, I don't think I can get you in, man. I think this is top security. Like it's me and one guest, like, that kind of thing. So should be a fun time though. And then San Fran, we'll get into that, but we'll get into that on Friday, but we will go through the stats. But yeah, look, Stroud had a great game. We'll see what happens. He hasn't had a great game all year. But he's been pretty darn good for a rookie. And look, I'll go back to when we played him. We gave him all day long to throw it. He picked us apart for the most part. We're playing a lot better than we were that day. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, man, you got to have the QB, and we'll see if they do out there in Houston. We got to win that one now. You got to get rid of that ghost late whenever. I don't even know when they're playing because I don't care right now. I care about San Fran and what they're bringing to the table. We do have news, if you haven't heard, yesterday it came out, Walker Little will be the starting left guard. I'm assuming he's healthy now. Ezra Cleveland, who was traded for a 6th-round pick from Minnesota, I'm assuming will be the top backup. I don't know if he can play tackle. I think he has in the past. I think he'd like to. He's kind of built more like a tackle, they say. But interesting enough that I guess they didn't like their backups, right? I mean, wasn't Blake Hance getting a lot of time?
Yep.
Maybe they didn't think I don't know, was he not powerful enough, strong? I have no idea. Is he not healthy, maybe? Of course, they let Kronk go. They let Barch go, but then bring him back. That just, to me, means they want him to heal up.
He's not totally healthy.
Give him a chance to, fix that knee. But looks like Walker Little, and hey, Walker Little's a very good guard, man. He is one of the bigger guards. He's way more athletic than most guards and way more flexible as well. This guy's got the tools. So I like the move, I guess. It's just a little interesting, that, you trade for a backup, I guess,
I don't know.
Don't you find that a little interesting?
I
mean, I don't know. I kind of expected him to be the left guard, I guess.
Agree.
But no, it's only a 6th-round pick. And I know how people are like, I don't always cap value and all that stuff. Let the CFOs of the world handle that crap. I'm just talking about you bring somebody in, you trade for them, meaning you like them, and he's not immediately impacting your team as a start or whatever. And then you look at, well, what? I don't know. I know they tried for a pass rusher from what we've all been told. It just didn't work out, but I don't know. All that, and no disrespect to Ezra Cleveland. I'm sure he's fine, and when he gets his chance, he'll be fine. But all that hoopla for a backup offensive guard. You know what I mean? It just seems odd. I don't know. I thought I was expecting a little bit. But with that being said, Walker Little's a very damn good player. And it's hard to just say, no, you're out, and he's in. So, and again, if anything ever happens, you can always move Walker to either tackle, and you plug Ezra in as the left guard. So, gives you versatility, a little flexibility. Nothing wrong with that.
And I don't know enough about offensive line play to be able to dissect how Blake Hance was playing and how Barch was playing when he played and all that. Right. All I know is that seemingly every time it's been a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2.
Right.
And we've tried to road grade ahead for 3 yards and keep the sticks moving.
Yep.
We've gotten stuffed. That's all I know. And the time we've seen Walker Little play guard has been extremely limited. It was really just like that. I think it was like 2 drives in the Bills game before he got hurt.
Right.
And that was Cam's first game back.
That's
He'd
right.
been playing tackle before.
That's right.
So we really don't know yet how Walker's going to be as a guard. I mean, that one drive was good, but it's just one drive. You know, you got to see him play a couple games to really take the temperature of how he looks as a guard.
Yep.
And maybe the trade for Ezra is a little bit of an insurance policy in case Walker's not getting it done at guard.
Yeah. Or something happens at tackle.
Correct.
Because right now, who's your backup tackle?
It's got to be Walker Little.
It's got to be Walker Little.
It
I
has
would think,
to be.
unless Ezra can play tackle.
We talked
and
about
maybe Rosher. Sorry to cut you up, but think about it. Maybe Rosher, who coached Ezra up in Minnesota for 2 years, says he can play tackle.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
We talked about this right before we went on. The air.
We're just figuring this stuff out live, man.
Exactly.
We're like sleuths.
But you have to imagine. I would say, knock on wood. Hope this doesn't happen. Just for the hypothesis, just say, Anton goes down in a game. And it's the third quarter. Of course. Knock on all the wood. Knock on all the wood. All that.
No,
but just say that you have to imagine they would scoot Walker to tackle and then replace his guard spot with Ezra.
Yeah,
you'd have to imagine that.
Yeah,
right?
you'd think so. I mean, that seems logical anyway.
So I guess now, could you argue that the Ezra trade makes Walker Little even more valuable? Because now I have a starter and a backup swing tackle with Walker Little.
Yeah, true. I just always with Walker, I always, now Doug did, right? He named him the left guard, but they never really named him the guy.
Yeah.
Since he's been here. But I guess
talked
he did
about that
yesterday.
this offseason.
Yeah, we did. Like, why? Why isn't he the tackle, period? Well, it's okay because, look, again, you want your 5 best offensive linemen out there. And you're right, our short yardage and goal line hasn't been very good.
It's been
and we
bad.
we need some beef up there. And he's a big guard with a way more athletic ability. So they love pulling. They love doing all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. We all know this. The offensive line overall has done a pretty good job if you think about it. Now, granted, I don't like the hits that Trevor's taken. The way too many. And I still stand by the fact that, look, when you looked at this team in the bye week, what unit was the weakest, if there was one. Offensive line overall as a unit was the weakest. So I'm okay with them addressing that without question. But they've done pretty well in the sack department. Need a little bit more oomph in the rushing department. We'll get into that when we get over stats. Graham mentioned it. Trevor was on the Manningcast yesterday. I see where, Peyton and his big head tried to trip up Trevor on the Manningcast by calling us London's team or something like that, and Trevor immediately shut that down, I guess. I heard the clip through the walls as they were airing it on Jaguars Today, which is taking place right through there now. And Trev handled it great. He's like, no, it's Jacksonville's team. Like, what are you talking about? But there they go with that London stuff. I tell you what. ESPN and NBC, are they all got to peel back that onion? Who are the shareholders of those big conglomerates? Let's see where. I mean, it just seems like NBC especially has been this narrative, like, just stop, like, whatever.
What's really going on?
We'll just keep winning.
In my opinion,
what's
going
on
is it was kind of, I don't know if you watched the interview on the Manningcast, live, but
I didn't. I don't.
Watching the whole thing, man, no disrespect. I like Peyton and Eli a lot.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too.
First of all, no disrespect, but the Manningcast is terrible to watch. I
don't ever watch it. I want to watch the game. I don't want to be sidetracked by whatever's going on.
I only had it on for Trevor. I never watched the Manningcast otherwise. It's a terrible way to watch football. That's the first thing. Yep. Secondly, you could tell that Peyton and Eli had no idea how the Jags were doing this season. Because all they wanted to bring up was stuff everyone knows.
Right.
Trevor has long hair. Okay, big breaking news.
Yeah.
They made like 4 different comments about his hair.
Really?
Yes.
What?
And they were talking about,
I mean,
Herbert
one's enough. He's got great hair. And I'd like to know the products.
They kept talking about his hair. They talked about London.
Yeah.
And the Chargers come back last year.
Right.
It was like very basic stuff.
Yeah.
That like someone who knows nothing about the Jaguars, like stuff they would probably bring up.
Yeah.
It's like, they've won 5 in a row.
Right.
Talk about this season.
No,
man.
I know. They don't know. They don't know. And you know what? You never know with the big shots, what the push is from the inside. They got producers to answer to. Those producers got executives to answer to. Those executives got shareholders to answer to. So you just never know why it is the way it is. I mean, look, I can remember producers saying, "Oh, that was great radio," and I was like, "I didn't like that. I didn't like that." But it made great radio. I'm like, I still didn't like it.
The biggest problem with the Manningcast when you're watching it, just like Trevor aside, just any given interview they do, is they're like kind of halfway giving the interview and halfway commentating on the game. And it's distracting and it's weird.
I got ADD. I can't be distracted.
Yeah, they'll be in the middle of asking someone a question, and then they'll be like, "Yes, we got a third down. Oh, they're stuffed, and I think they're going to punt." So back to, and it's just like, it's too much.
Yeah, well, they're on it for another year, so they must be doing something right. They're making the money. People are checking out. Just not my thing. Catching up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac, of course. Make sure you take down. I've put it out there before. The number for Chris Lucero's bail bonds, 822-2245. That's 904-822-BAIL. Number one name in the bail. Hey, nobody wants to get thrown in the clink. I get it. I don't either. But if you do, and you want to get out quick, you call my friend Chris Lucero's bail bonds. Again, 904-822-2245. All right, I did go over the stats and the rankings of the stats. How about that? Offense and defense for the Jags. Because, look, 6-2, 9 to go. And you got San Fran right away. Like, there is no time to, sit back and relax. It's time to put the throttle down and get moving forward and knock it down some walls while we're there. So we're going to get into it. Although I love the way Dewey Wingard plays the game of football, and he's made some great plays, we are going to critique this team, too. So I hope you can handle that. It's not actually the defense. It's pretty damn good. Defense. Pretty damn good. But let's go through it, shall we? We'll start with points per game. Our Jaguars on offense at 24.1 is ranked 10th in the league. Now think about this, Grammage. They haven't even come close to hitting their stride on a consistent basis. Maybe they've done in one game 2.5 quarters of consistent football, right? Maybe that's been the max. There's always been a lull, at least a quarter, or something not going well, or a bad decision, or what have you. 2.5 quarters, consistent, explosive, making them things happen and scoring points is our Jags. You agree?
I do. And also, really quickly, because I know you want to move through these, you've brought this up more than once, and when you listen to any broadcast of the Jags games for guys that you can tell have done their homework, color guys, they all bring this up. The Jags to score as many points as they do per game with how bad they've been on third down is like, it's like historic.
I know
what they're doing.
I know.
So, man, you just pick it up a little bit on third down.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So
now, last game out, they were very good on third down on
correct.
Offense. They finally. So, all right. So I'm going to just go through the offense first and start with that. All right. So yards per carry. Not good enough. 3.8 yards per carry, and ETN's about 3.9, so it's about the same. They're bottom 10th. Maybe that's why they invested in the interior of the offensive line. Maybe a little bit bigger, a little more beefier. Let's see if that changes with Walker Little at guard. Maybe it will. I hope it does.
Boy, it'd be nice.
It would be. And again, you think about this offense. And if the defense, which we're going to get into, two things like points, you should be averaging more points, and you're capable of scoring plus 30 most of the time. Not every game, of course, but most of the time, that's your capability. You've shown that. And running the ball, you still haven't unleashed running the ball. And you need to run the. Everyone's like, you don't need to. You know when you need to run the ball? When you have a lead and you want to run out the damn clock. And if that defense can't stop your running attack in that moment before half and 4 minutes before half, 4 minutes before the end of the game, if they can't stop it, they're done. You got them. It's over. So it's very important to be able to run the football at certain points, like I mentioned, and stop them, which we'll get into. All right, yards per attempt, 7.1 at 68.7%. So what does that mean? 7 yards down the field. Not bad. I like it around 8. You start talking 8, 9, now you're really looking downfield, and you have enough time to look downfield. Zach Wilson was probably at like 4.5. You know what I mean? And he did throw some balls down the field, but nonetheless, he probably had a short yards per attempt. All right, third down percentage for the offense to date after 8 games. They are bottom 8th, and they're at 35.5%. So I've often told you about the board we used to have up on the wall. Points. This is why I do it. This is where I get it from. Points, yards per carry, yards per attempt. Third down, now fourth down. We didn't really care about fourth down back in the day that much. Sacks, interceptions, takeaways, those types of things. Those are those. If you hit those marks, and most of them, you should win the game, right? Points, 17 or less. Yards per carry, 3.8 or less, or 3.6 or less. And so on. And third down. So you want 2 out of 3. I'm getting off the field and giving the ball back to my offense. That's the 1 out of 3, right? That we let them convert. So if I'm at 33%, I'm great for a defense. If I'm on offense, it sucks, right? Because that means 2 out of 3 times I'm punting. I'm giving the ball back to the other team's offense. Now, when that turns, and hopefully the last game is the thing that lights the match for third down, because they were very good on third down last time out, but they're bottom 8th at 35.5% on offense. Bottom 6 on offense on fourth down, which is surprising with Doug Peterson. He's been kind of iffy on fourth down this year. It's like that one game he went for it like 3 or 4 times. It didn't really quite work out the way they had hoped to. Maybe one did, I think. I can't totally remember. But then the next game, none at all, when you thought, wow, you're at midfield, it's 4th and short, and you're punting. You know what I mean? He's been conservative. Last year was like, no, boom, let's go, rock and roll. Fourth down, we're going for it.
Part of it,
I don't think he's spending as much. Part of it is
McManus.
Yeah, well, you having the field goal. Well, even punting, though, you've seen him be conservative in that regard.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing, especially in short yardage, is I think that they have been worried about the interior of that offensive line.
Well,
especially while Walker Little's been hurt.
Yeah.
And, Scherf has played. He's played through all his injuries, but he's been banged up all year.
Yeah.
And Fortner, there's been some...
They should still, though, with all that being said, they should be able to take Fortner, Scherf, and Anton and run and throw a tight end and run the ball over they can't get me a yard. You know what I mean? Much respect to Walker and Shadley and Cam, but you telling me those 4 guys, throw Farrell in there to help out? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they did it when they went for 2 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They ran a sweep to that side.
That's right.
I mean, you and I would have converted that.
That was they wide open, wide open hole. Yeah, they did.
Man, wouldn't that be nice to have that consistently?
Yeah,
a little off tackle to give me 3 every time I need 1.
Yeah. So that's again the offense. They have not hit their stride. Sacks, only 19 sacks given up. Top 5 in the league once again. Last year they were about the same. So they're doing well in sacks given up so far. Out of 6 games, it's about 3 a game. It's a little bit too much, but still, overall, they're ranked pretty high. And then interceptions, only 4 for Trev. Pretty darn good. That's tied for third in the league. All right, let's look at this defense. Points, 19.5 Pretty darn good. Tied for 8th. Yards per carry, 3.6. 3rd in the league. Huge. Yards per attempt, 6.6. A little high, but not bad, but only 62.9% completion percentage. So that's not a high completion percentage, even at a 6.6. 3rd down. This is where the men separate themselves on 3rd down, especially 3rd and short. I'm biased, of course. We are tied for 4th at 34.2%. Ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely outstanding defensive football. So you can take credit and be happy about that. 4th down, they're about half. A little high on 4th down, but 4th down's just a weird down, but it's part of the game plan today. You got to have your stuff together on 4th down. They're at 45.5%. 16 sacks is bottom 3rd of the league. Not good. Interceptions at 11. You're tied for 2nd in the league. And we're number 1 in takeaways, at least going in to this week. Week's Thursday, this game. Or last week's game, I'm sorry. So, look, the defense has been the story. But I'm telling you right now, man, if you want to put some money down on the Jags, I'm not promoting anything, and I don't even gamble. Do you gamble at all?
I do.
Do you really? You put money on football?
I do.
Do you?
Well, speaking of gambling,
no, I've never done it. I've never. I've bet on, like, I used to love going to Arlington Park in Chicago and Arlington Heights to bet on the horses, and it would only be like once in a while. It wasn't like a big time thing. I do like blackjack. I don't like anything else. The other stuff I don't like, but that's probably about it. But I've never put money on a game before. Not like maybe $10 to a friend or whatever, that kind of thing, but never like with a bookie or anything. I've never done that. It's pretty wild. Bookie ever come after you? You ever get any pressure? Like, I got to pay the bookie?
No, I mean, I've never had more than at most like a couple $100
out there.
That
Outstanding.
Been down. But usually the books I use cap you at 500.
Oh, they do.
That's the most. If you win more, you can bet more.
Okay.
But they set it up to where you can never be down more than $500.
Yeah. I love Kurt Warner's
probably a good thing.
His commercial. Don't gamble more than you can. Like, what? Talking to a bunch of degenerate gamblers. Right. Yeah, okay, Kurt. We'll change just because you said it.
Well, speaking of that, a certain sports book this morning opened back up here in this great state of Florida. So
is that right?
So it's ready to rock and roll, baby.
Oh, hard rock and roll?
Absolutely.
Hard rock and roll?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like how you did that.
That was pretty good.
Absolutely.
Huh? That was pretty good. I just thought of that. Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's
I've never really done it. Like, I see the DraftKings, I see the all the ads, and I've never like gotten on my phone and gave it a shot.
The fun thing to do is the not fun thing to do is to place a ton of money on, kind of 50-50 things. You got to sweat it out, see if it's going to happen or not. That's stressful. I've been there. Right. It's not great.
Yeah.
The fun thing to do is do basically the sports betting version of buying a lottery ticket.
Okay.
And putting like $5 on this like crazy parlay.
Okay.
That, $5 to win $5,000 or something like that, where it's probably not going to happen, but you have like a 13-leg parlay.
Okay.
And just
hope
and
you get $5 can get you 5G.
If you
certain games
do it right, and it depends on the odds, and you have to take to take probably some long shots out there to get that type of thing. But I equate doing that basically to buying a lottery ticket.
My picks sucked. Speaking of lottery picks, my picks not good enough. 8-5 this week. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
What were we finishing?
I equate that if you put $5 to $10 on a super hefty parlay.
Yeah.
I equate it to basically like buying a lottery ticket.
Okay, yeah, same kind of
spend $4 or $5 on something.
Yeah, hope
you get lucky.
Yeah,
I just think it's more fun because it's sports.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to maybe look into that. I could use a little extra cash on the side.
Well, could you afford to lose? Because that's
no, I don't like losing. I probably would never pull the trigger. I make picks every week. Went 8-5 this week. Grammage. My losses: Atlanta. Damn it, they had them, but Josh Dobbs, great job driving them down the field. I thought the Rams were going to show up. They did not. Green Bay takes care of them. New England, I don't think I'll ever pick you the rest of the year. I really, really don't. But hats off to Washington finding a way. And then I went on a win streak after that. I had New Orleans. I had Baltimore. I had Houston. I had Indianapolis. I had Vegas. And I had Philly. And I had Cincy. And then I had the Jets, which, that just blows the rest. It's like, it sucks then, like 8-5. 9-4 is okay. 8-5 is just not good, But
Think about
I don't know if I'll pick the Jets either. They got to figure that out with that QB, man. That defense is. I was watching 95. What's his first name again? His brother Williams.
Quinnen Williams.
Quinnen. Oh my gosh, he takes grown men and throws them like they're kids. I mean, literally, boom, extends. Yeah, point. Get out of my way. And then goes make a big hit on the back or whatever. You're just like, jeez.
He's got to do it for more years and have a bigger body of work, but he's kind of in the Aaron Donald realm. Listen, I'm not calling him Aaron Donald
No,
yet,
I know,
but
he's Simmons. He's getting in the Simmons from Tennessee. That Johnson kid from FSU's.
Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, they figured him out. He can get after it. They've got some players, man. Quincy Williams can play Sauce. I mean, if they could get that. Well, the offensive line just sucks. They're beat up.
Dude, it's so
the quarterback's not going to be any good at all, and he may not be good at all. Time will tell, but not with that line. He's never going to come back from that line. There's no way. He'll never trust them. He'll be seeing freaking ghosts in his sleep. I mean, he will. He'll be freaking out.
That's what I was saying earlier. I don't think Zach Wilson's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But a good quarterback would have problems in that offense. They'd be better, of course, with Aaron Rodgers in there, whoever. They'd be a better offense. Of course they would.
Right.
But it's not like they'd score 35 points a game. That offense struggles, man.
I tell you what, they'd be yelling at their offensive line.
Of course they would.
They'd be screaming at them.
Zach Wilson is the easy bailout right now.
Yeah.
From a national perspective.
Yeah, and he's got to hone it in, man.
Of course.
You can't miss wide open guys. You can't miss open.
100%.
They're not wide open. You can't miss open guys.
He had a bad one last night. I don't know if you saw, I think it was the third quarter. Initially made a great play. They had a play action, and Khalil Mack came in unblocked, and Zach juked him out and made a good move and got out of the sack.
Okay, I didn't see that.
And then he had Tyler Conklin wide open
and
just missed him. It was a bad throw.
Yeah.
And it was only 5 yards down the field, and it's dude, you did the hard...
the adrenaline,
Eggman
maybe.
said this.
You know what I mean?
Eggman said this. He's you did the hard part. You just got out of a Khalil Mack sack.
Yeah, right.
And then you missed a 5-yard throw.
Yeah.
He does stuff like that a lot.
Yeah.
Trevor did that a little bit his first year. He'd make this great play and then overthrow somebody or whatever. Right. And Trevor now is humming.
Yeah.
That stuff is...
and I know, I know everyone's waiting for Trevor to have that monster statistical game. I don't really care. And let me just say this, because the way the players feel about Trevor, the teammate, that's how I felt about Brunell. And all of us did. Brunell may have thrown 20 touchdowns a year. 23, I think, was the most. It wasn't but we loved him. And he was a badass mofo quarterback that we wouldn't have traded for anybody. We wouldn't have. 96 through 90, at least when I was on the team, we would have never, ever considered trading for him. We didn't care. Now, granted, he put up big numbers. It wasn't like he didn't. And I think the 1 year, 96, he led the league in yards, right? But it wasn't there were multiple games of 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, or 5 touchdowns. It was consistent play, and it was tough as nails, and we loved him. And that's who Trevor is. And will he ever get? I guess it matters to you fantasy people. I'm sure it does.
Well, it matters.
That you're not getting enough points. Poor people, you're not getting enough points from Trev on the fantasy.
And it matters to the people that don't matter in terms of the national media who's not watching our games.
Right.
And then when they have to talk about top QBs for a segment and they bring up Trevor, they just look at a box score and see the number of touchdowns.
Right.
That's who it matters to, even though that doesn't matter to the Jaguars winning and losing football games. Because what's happened, you've seen this 1,000 times like I have. How many drives this year has Trevor and company and the entire offense moved all the way down the field, and Trevor's made tons of good throws, probably had a good scramble, great throw down the field to Ridley, great throw to Ingram, whatever, and they get to like the 5-yard line. ETN runs it in for a score. Well, that's taking away a touchdown from Trevor's box score. But who the hell cares? We scored a touchdown.
If you watch Trevor Lawrence, you would say a few things. More than a few. You'd say he's tough as nails. You say he makes some ridiculous throws. I mean, ridiculous throws. He also makes some bad mistakes from time to time. He is young. That's going to happen. He does. His picks are untimely. They hurt. Now, we can overcome them sometimes. Sometimes we don't. Houston, we did not. That wasn't why we lost the game, but that pick was timely. We had some momentum. Thought we were getting back into it. It happens. It's okay, but it happens. His players love him. And when he takes off and runs, he becomes a dynamic weapon. And he, to me, if Trevor ever hears this, that's what he's got to continue. Play that Trevor ball that we talk about here on this show. And that's what? Just making a play. Feet, arm, I don't care. Legs, feet, it doesn't matter. Throwing the ball downfield, wide open, Kirk, loop-de-loop, whatever. Making play, taking off and running when it's man and everybody's gone. What do? Don't just go. Just go. Go get that 15 yards. You know how to slide. You know how to dive. You know when to stay in. You know when to get out. So I would trust him and they already do. Doug and Les, you go make a play. Yes, I want you structured in my offense. Yes, you have a first read. Yes, you have a second read. But guess what? Sometimes you got to forget all that and go make a play. And I don't care if you do it with your feet. But I'm telling you this, what I've watched, every time he does, that's when it clicks to me. That's when there's rhythm. That's when they're dynamic. That's when they can be dangerous.
It's almost like breaking the seal of a game in some ways. It's like
It's just getting in that rhythm.
Well, running backs say stuff like that all the time. Like, I need to get hit 1 or 2 times to really feel like I'm in a game. And I don't think it's almost like in basketball, if a shooter's like in a slump or something, he's like, just need to see one go through the hoop. It's similar, like with Trevor, it's like, if I get 1 10-yard run, man, I'm cooking type thing. Like, it's like, I'm really in the game now, I'm not the QB. I'm one of the 11 guys playing ball.
You're right. And listen, we wouldn't trade him for anybody. Maybe Mahomie. But that's it. That is it. All right, that's going to do it for me. I know there's some people outside trying to get into the podcast studio right here at 1010XL. I want to thank Team Tommy Mac, Chris Rosero, Bail Bonds, J-Dog Junk Removal, Azar Sausage, Homegrown and Down Home, Meat 55, going to be offered at the Jacksonville Pier soon. Stay tuned. Carpet Man Flooring, more than just LVP, all types of carpeting, and the Truck Accident Law Firm. Of course, this Thursday, I just got word while I was doing this show. Aaron Beasley is back to be my co-host for Tommy Mac's Happy Hour at Graffiti Bar, and Big Sofa Damon Jones is our guest. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a fun one. Brackish Vodka, Salt Air, Inn and Suites, all a part of the Tommy Mac Happy Hour, along with Adaptive Jacks. Love all of them on board. Y'all be good out there. Stay safe. Be cool. We'll see you on Friday, man. We're going to break it down as our Jags get ready to kick the living you-know-what out of the San Francisco 49ers. You heard it here first. We'll be back on Friday. You've been listening to Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.